Now, while it might be the rise of Ronin that we're getting into, especially when it comes to overall gameplay mechanics, it is definitely the fall of sales that would be emphasized because for this to be a PlayStation exclusive and it to have an opening week of not even being on the top 10 as far as games in your country on PlayStation 5 when it's a literal PlayStation 5 exclusive, it's just insane. And I don't want to hear about top 10s being mostly taken up by sports and shooting games because Dragon's Dogma 2 that just came out is still in the top 10 and Helldivers 2 is still in the top 10. And Dragon's Dogma just came out. Honestly, I think it may have came out the same time as Rise of Ronin. So there's really no excuse for the sales for Rise of Ronin because Rise of Ronin is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. And the reason why I keep reiterating that is because that's a big factor when you get into the overall standpoint that Dragon's Dogma 2 is also out on other platforms. So that means it's a spread of wealth and it's still outperforming you on a console that you're exclusively on. So, anyways, this is not just to trash Rise of Ronin. It's not to dogpile Rise of Ronin. It's really to just get an understanding on where it stands in the grand scheme of things when it comes to its peers. But as far as like the actual quality and as far as talking about what makes it stand out amongst the rest, that is also what we're going to get into because it would just be it'd be messed up for me to just talk about how Rise of Ronin is just completely having a downward spiral when it comes to sales, actual sales, because the sales projections they was trying to have over 5 million, but at this point we can probably just put that to bed. That's not going to happen at any point in time. I mean, literally, I looked at Dragon Dogmas 2 sales and is number one on Xbox. That's the last thing I was looking up. I was looking at the Xbox platform because I think Princess Peach is exclusively on Nintendo, so it's hard to compare those sales with other games. But guess what? I actually found something that I was able to compare all the sales. So Princess Peach is basically the fourth most played game as far as the week ending sales charts in March 30th. 2024. You have EA Sports, of course, Hogwarts Legacy at number 2, South Park at number 3, Princess Peach at number 4, Dragon's Dogma 2 at number 5, Mario Kart 8 at Deluxe at number 6, Helldivers 2 at number 7, Prince of Persia, which is, I'm so glad that Prince of Persia still hasn't been like completely just overshadowed by all these new game releases because that game is amazing. And if you want to listen to my review of that game, Analytic Dreamz, Prince of Persia, and it should pop up. But anyways, that came in at number 8. And reminder, this is for the week ending 30th March 2024 sales charts. It Takes Two at number 9, which is a classic, by the way. And then Super Mario Bros. Wonder at number 10. So where is Rise of Ronin? The world may never know. But anyways, besides that, let's get into the actual quality of the game because not everybody cares about sales. Some people actually just wonder, is the game good or not? And from looking at the review roundups, from looking at personal people that I go to as far as like whenever they play a game, I will say that the overall consensus is that it's a solid game. It's not perfect, but it's definitely one of those games that you can play and you can obviously tell that this is a pretty solid game. Like it's a pretty above average game. Because of the combat, because of the absence of mindless button mashing that sometimes you fall into as far as being an action game, this game doesn't have that. It's more calculated and you have to have stamina management. Basically, it's harder to master this game than just a regular action fighting game, if that makes sense, especially in the action samurai genre. So whenever I'm getting into some of the stealth and range combat mechanics, such as avoiding enemies and things of that nature that all samurais go through, as far as taking them out quietly, well, taking the opposition out quietly, and opting for a rifle whenever you want like range attacks and stealth kills from long range, things of that nature. Um, some of the exploration and climbing, they say that you use grappling hook and glider for access, and you can use alternative routes and grapple points to reach seemingly inaccessible areas. Translation: they reward you for exploring the map, which is definitely one of those um, prime details that I think makes every open world or semi open world game amazing. The attention to detail to know that if somebody chose to go a certain path rather than the beaten path, maybe they get a little bit more reward, or if not more, another unique reward for going that down that alternative path. So with that being said, the game overview is just completely amazing. Everybody is saying that it's a solid game. I mean, GameSpot gave it. Well, we probably can't start with that one. That's not amazing. Um, IGN. Okay, the game's solid, right? I'm not trying to trash this game. It's a solid game. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, basically saying that Rise of Ronin, Rise of Ronin is excellent when it has the courage to be itself and lean into its challenging, rewarding fighting too often. However, it feels stuck. Let's see if I can pull this up. Um, I had to zoom in. I can't read. Anyways, it feels stuck in indecision, torn between what it wants to be and what it feels it's expected to be. And not even the best samurai can overcome that. So they had a little bar, I guess, or whatever about for the review. GameSpot also gave this game a 7 out of 10, saying it's not without some flaws, but I finished Rise of Ronin with much more left to do. And even after 50 hours, which is a lot to put into a game, I want to head back to see what I'd missed and attempt to change history. The parts of the game that work more than balance out its weaker elements. I don't even know what that means. And while it took a while to find the rhythm of Rise of Ronin combat, its speed complex. Bro, this game's solid. All right, they saying a bunch of word salad. Everybody I've heard, as far as the consensus, has said this game is nothing mind blowing, but it's not trash. It's not bad. It's not even average. It's a little bit above average. Obviously, some of the scores I read off from the premier outlets gave it a 7 out of 10, but a lot of other outlets gave it an 8 out of 10. Well, I've seen a lot of 8 out of 10s as far as 4 out of 5, things of that nature. So it's not terrible, but it's definitely not going to blow you out of the water. And you know, I mean, I guess that reflects in the sales, because if you're not blowing people out of the water when it comes to gameplay mechanics, can you really try to have an ambitious sales target of 5 million copies? That at this point just is impossible to achieve. I mean, think about it. Spider-Man, when it first came out, that's the mark that it reached. It reached around 5 million. I think it surpassed it like a week or two into its release cycle. But so that is like plausible by a PlayStation only game, but it took Spider-Man to accomplish that. Obviously God of War accomplished that too, but we're talking about the past 2 years, right? Because when did Ragnarok come out? Like 2021, 2022. I forget when Ragnarok came out. But anyways, that had great sales as well. But Rise of Ronin is definitely going to be known on the sales side of just being a fall from grace, as a lot of people just labeled it average, and one of those things that there's other games, a lot of other games that did this a lot better, like Ghost of Tsushima. You have Elden Ring, of course. Then you have, who else? I think it's basically. I mean, there's a lot of other samurai games. Assassin's Creed. I mean, certain Assassin's Creed does this better. Um, It's just a lot of other games that you could play besides this that gives you the same element of samurai setting, but it's just much better. And the game I'll probably pinpoint is definitely Ghost of Tsushima, which is kind of hard to compare that to that game because that's literally, or that was the game of the year for that year it came out. And let's just say this game probably won't achieve the same feat or reach the same heights when it comes to recognition and critical acclaim. So, anyways, this is a PS5 exclusive. Standard deluxe editions are available, offering additional content in the deluxe edition, of course. And what else? Somebody said they witnessed a 45% discount shortly after release at Walmart, but I don't know if they're just joking or not. Because April 1st did just pass. So, yeah, that's basically it. Nothing too much to get into. At the end of the day, if you want to play a solid samurai game, Rise of Ronin is for you. But if you're looking for a game that's going to be something you could talk about with a lot of other gamers, more than likely they didn't even pick this game up. And they probably own a PlayStation as well. So that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about Rise of Ronin and its solid quality, in it being a solid quality game, but its sales just completely diminishing in what the comparisons were as far as projections?